everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Mom Boss Maximizer podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Burnham, and I am coming to you from another location in my house. I was thinking I want to record all of my podcast episodes in my gym because I love my office. I love the background. There's also an echo and there's also lots of sounds going on because people are coming in and out. And I would want to get ready at my house and look somewhat decent on at least some of these episodes. And then upstairs in my room, the background is me and Joe half naked from my pregnancy photo shoot. So now I'm going to use, if you're not watching and you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, baby's shrine. This is like every former pro athlete's dream right here. All his signed, this is actually not signed to football. This is from when he played with the Redskins. And these are all my babies. So this is his cute little office. He doesn't use it as much as I do. So I'm just going to take it over. But what we're getting into today is the podcast Mastermind Retreat that I went to almost 2 weeks ago with Kacia Get Mary, who is the host of Empower Her podcast, and 8 other incredible women who I already consider some of my closest friends. Like, I'm talking to them on the daily. So let's get right into it, because I was in this transition just a couple months ago of leaving a mastermind called Mommy Millionaire with Kayla Craft. I wasn't leaving, it's the time the 12 months was up. And then I went to a workshop in Scottsdale, Arizona with Lori Harder. So I met so many incredible women there, and I was feeling this momentum, created guts. And of course, my multi-passionate growth, personal development brain wants to always say, what's next? I need to keep growing. I need to keep investing. Where is this taking me? I need to find what I'm super passionate about and what I want to put my time, my extra time that I'm not putting into the gym into. What do I wake up in the morning and get really super excited for? Is this podcasting. So I've been listening to Kacia's podcast since the summer when I was in this shift, still in this identity shift, but there's a lot more clarity now since this mastermind. We'll get into that. But where I'm going is wanting to use my podcast to connect with more women, impact more women, and create a new community. And this is the struggle that I'm dealing with right now. I say dealing with, but not even so much a struggle, but it feels like I'm starting over. So I knew I had to put myself in another room, AKA this mastermind with Kacia, in order to elevate my growth and go to where I want to go. And that's with who. And it's also how. And how I'm doing that is by saying yes to the things that light me the F up. So this was announced. The podcast mastermind was announced. Let's back up. It was in March. It was around the time, yes, that I was going into guts. And I reached out to 2 of the girls that I saw posted about it that went to the workshop at Lori Harder's. So Crystal and Shelby, I reached out to, and I said, I saw that you posted something about it. What are your thoughts? I wanted to hear their feedback. What I'm very used to is being impulsive and saying, yes, shiny object syndrome. That is something I am working on, and now a lot more working on since attending this mastermind. Again, we'll get into that. So reaching out to them, they validated what I was thinking. I reached out to Kacia. I voice note her on Instagram, and she got back to me. And like, sometimes I just want to put this out there. You might not think the people behind the account are the ones running it, but you would be surprised. So this is just my little learning lesson and takeaway from me taking the initiative and reaching out to Lori Harder, to reaching out to Kacia Get Mary, and Lindsay Schwartz, those 3 women who have really inspired me in their personal development, growth, and their businesses. I've reached out to each of them individually, and they have all written me back and voice note me back. And that says a lot about the person, and not getting automated messages and robots and all the things that are out there. I just get really overwhelming. So Kacia got back to me, and it was like a freaking hell yeah. After I talked to her and applied, from what she said, she told us like there was hundreds of applicants and she chose 8 women. There was like a synergy about us. And let me tell you, she curated the perfect group of girls for the first time of doing this type of mastermind. So we went there on a Sunday. It was 2.5 days. And let me just kind of like lead up to this. I had just gotten back from Nashville a week ago, and that was with my best friend. So I did say on an earlier podcast, my intentions for 2024 is more girl time, more best friends, more me time. And I did that. I went to Nashville, and that was the most amazing freaking experience with my best friend, Jess. We grew up together since we were in 4th grade, and now she lives down in Philly because she moved in with me when I was down there, and she stayed down there. So I miss her so much. So we had the best time. Will I go back? Maybe with my mom, but it was like Vegas. So anyway, I had just gotten back from Nashville on Sunday. Definitely had no voice, and everything that was happening for me for those 48 hours prior still continued to that week. A lot of stuff was going down at the gym. I had to make the most hardest decisions of my life ever. My experience of the gym, I made a lot of changes that were no longer serving me and I wasn't feeling aligned. So I had to do all that in that week. And then I had to go to Utica for 2 of my kids' basketball games on Saturday. Drove back Saturday night. The last game was at 5 p.m. Oh my God. I was like, why? And my flight was at 6 a.m. on Sunday. So I get to the airport where I'm headed, and I had to go all the way down to Orlando and then up to Denver. It was such a long day. But when you have this, when the endorphins are running and the anticipation of what to expect, because we had no clue what to expect. The only thing that Kacia really told us in our email and in our, group coaching calls was that just be ready and be prepared for a transformation and for connections and for fun. And she also asked us 3 questions leading up to it, which was our birthday, the date, the time, and the location. So that was all she really asked us. Oh, and if we have any food allergies, there were some questions. And luckily, no one had food allergies. So the food was amazing. So we get there, and the first day on Sunday, we get to arrive around 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock on that Sunday. And this was just all about meeting each other, connecting, eating, and already just felt the energy and the excitement and the love and the support like that quick. We sat down, we journaled. One of the first things that Kacia asked us was, what do you want to feel when you leave here? I will share a couple of the words that I chose. I chose clarity, connected, empowered, understood, confident, and accepted. So then we get into a couple other questions that made us reflect, and also to think forward, like what do you want, how do you want yourself to be proud, what do you want to tell yourself in 5 years or 10 years? So that was just a little bit of a reflection. She gave us journals. She gave us all these swag bags with some amazing gifts and one of them was a chilled vino glass from one of the members, Caroline, who invented this with chilled vino glass. And it's so cool. Can't wait to use that, Caroline. So the first night was really, chill, eating, like just snuggling, talking, getting to know each other in our businesses, our personal and our professional lives. And some of us are moms, some of us aren't. So, and we're all in different industries and all in different stages of our businesses. There was one other woman who has a brick and mortar like myself. She has a hair salon. So, and then she was also in her 40s. So we were the oldest out of 8. So, and her podcast is blended. She has a blended family as well. So I went into it already like knowing I cannot wait to connect with her. I cannot wait to, just be able to understand each other and relate to each other and be heard. Like that's what I talked about as a feeling wanting to leave. So let's talk about the first day. We went for a walk and we didn't start until I believe it was like 8:30 or 9. We had coffee. I mean, all the food that she prepared in the fridge was so awesome. Like this is my first intimate retreat that I haven't put on. I put on one before. I was ready because I did not know what to expect. And I love just the unknown. So day one started with Lauren Armstrong, who is the expert in human design. And this is why Kacia asked us for those 3 questions with the date of our birthday, the time, and the location, because this was really talking about who we are and how we cooperate, how our energy is, what our personality is like, how we strategize, how we connect with others, so if you guys listen to me and how in between my stories on Instagram or on here, or even on the Power podcast, how much I've talked about the Enneagram and my obsession with the Enneagram and identity and awareness. Well, the human design element, this process is on a whole other level. Like my brain was all over the place, lots happening. And what Lauren did, she came prepared with books for each of us on our human design. So if you're watching, this is what the book looks like. And that's the diagram. And in here is, in here is all the beautiful information about me and how I would apply that to my personal and to my professional life and business and marketing and sales, in my relationships. So I am a 3/6 emotional generator. And what that means, I'm just going to read really quick a little bit of like what the generator is. And I was like, yes, that is me. You are a classic builder. You are here to work and get things done step by step, masterfully and methodically. When you are lit up and doing work you love, you have a nearly inexhaustible source of consistent energy at your disposal. When your work is satisfying, you master and perfect the process of bringing inspiration into reality. But if you are doing things that are not correct for you, you'll feel frustrated and it'll suck the energy right out of you. So it goes into it. So, hi, that's me. Yes, give me all the energy. So then it talks about, as a generator, your strategy is waiting to respond. So it talks about what your strategy is for each design based off your birthday. And mine's waiting to respond. And it looks like doing things you enjoy doing and watching opportunities come your way. You may have tons of ideas of things you want to do and get started. Yep. And get started with, and what would it look like to place those ideas on an idea shelf of some kind? Idea shelf. I'm like, idea shelf. No, I just like put everything in my notes and I just try to do all these ideas at once. This was me in 2023 while I was dealing with a custody battle and an Achilles rupture. What? I think of 2023. I'm just like, what the fuck was I doing? So your strategy and authority ensure that you are spending your energy on the correct things for you in the correct timing. So it gets more into that, but that's just the strategy. And then the next thing, like I said, I'm an emotional generator. So the emotional part, which I was like, I'm not emotional. Well, really I am, but I hide a lot of my emotions, and I've been suppressing my emotions for a very long time. Hence why now when I watch a commercial or hear a song or when something just triggers me, I just start bawling because I suppressed it for the past 20 years when trauma started happening in my life. So anyway, but that emotional part that's not all of it for this human design. So the emotional says it is correct for you to wait to respond. Then wait for clarity through your emotional wave. So that's my authority. That's my decision making strategy. And it says there's no truth in the now for you, and you want to avoid making spontaneous, spur of the moment decisions. The reason for this is you have a defined emotional wave. Sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down, and where you are in your wave colors how you feel about your decision. I was like, okay, hold on a second. So this is saying don't be impulsive and don't go with your gut. Well, or don't make that decision right away. Where I could tell you right now, like I just said in 2023, I had the shiny object syndrome, which means not by buying things like material things that is not me, my shiny object syndrome, and tell me and like screen record this and shoot me a DM or something if you can relate to this, please, is by pressing the submit to more growth and personal development. Oh, this book, this investment, this coaching, this mastermind. I was in 3 masterminds, 2 memberships. I had 3 coaches last year. Do you even remember that? And I just, I felt I was just all over the place, rightfully so, because I have been dealing with a very big and longer than anticipated identity shift. So let's get back to the whole experiment and weekend. So I'm at 15 minutes already. Oh my gosh, I have to stop talking so much. So we did human design. We went through every single woman. And then we came up and she asked us questions based on who we are and our business. And it was tears. I mean, one of the biggest things that really hit me was we all are given a gift based on our human design, and we have it's a gift and it is a shadow. My shadow is oppression. I started bawling. I just thought about every single experience in my life, and my gift is transmutation, which means transforming. And that's why I'm here. That is my gift to others. And I was just like, wow. I mean, and there's not like 10 gifts or 10 shadows. I don't know how many words. You need to follow Lauren Armstrong and look up human design, because there's a lot. And in the fact that this was so on point was scary and exciting at the same time, because what can I do with this? How can I apply this to my personal and professional life? So that's where our minds start going. I'm turning my pages from my notes. So we had the human design for the majority of that day. And then we did hot seat coaching. Hot seat coaching, that if you've never experienced hot seat coaching, it happens a lot of masterminds virtually and in person, where each of us sat down individually and we had 20 minutes. And that 20 minutes was us coming prepared with a question or some questions. And the other girls and Kacia were just helping us with what our questions were, wherever we're at in our business. So of course, me, here we go. Emotional comes out, the tears start flowing because everything was just hitting me. I was having a lot of clarity in this moment and being challenged and I was being challenged. I'm like just receiving it and reflecting on it. And 20 minutes feels like 5 minutes, like it does right now. So that was incredible. What we also did, we got to meet Kacia's son and another girl, Crystal, her son. They're both 6 months. So they came during lunch, and then we played Podcast Olympics. This was so much fun. And I feel like only Kacia, if you don't listen to her podcast, you'll know this girl is high energy, my type of girl. And some of the games we did: wheelbarrow race, a podcast, trivia, and we did an ad. So we had to pretend we were doing an ad on our podcast. Mine was with technology or like a product that you could understand what animals are saying. So we had to do that. And then the fourth one was doing a dance and a song and lip singing. And we did Spice Girls and we won. It was so much fun. So then that night was super casual. We went out to this incredible dinner. One of our girls, oh, poor Emily, she got hurt during the Podcast Olympics and was in urgent care. So we all were like, we're not going to wear any cute clothes. We're just going to show up in these workout clothes that we wore today. We stink, we smell, we don't care. We're here for it. Had some great conversations, great food. And then we basically called it a night. I did go in the hot tub with Priyanka. Priyanka is in Boston and her movement is awesome. So we went in the hot tub, just us two, and all the other girls passed out. I'm like, oh, mom will go. Let me fill your cup, babe, because I've got a hot tub at home, but this one looks fun. It's like the cedar round one. And then, so the next day we had Alex Street. So this is Tuesday. I don't even know what day it is. This is Tuesday. So Tuesday we had Alex Street, who is the guru of storytelling. He is the expert on how to tap into using your story, and not even using your story, but like really thinking about what that story is. Because I struggle with, wow, I have a lot in my story. It's really complicated. Where do I start with my story without boring people or without talking too much, or sounding redundant? And it's funny. It's very interesting because when I was on the hot seat with Lauren with Human Design, and when I was on the hot seat with Alex talking about my story, they both, and they weren't in the same room at the same time, they both said Harry Potter to me. Like, your story is like Harry Potter. And it's so weird because I was like, okay, I feel like I have to watch Harry Potter now because I don't know what you're talking about. And he had so many stories because there was a lot to uncover, and there was a lot to transform, and there was a lot to influence in his story, a lot to unpack. So I found that very fascinating. And I was like, well, I don't have time to read all those books. Should I watch the movie? That's a question. So let me know if you watch Harry Potter, because I'm not, that stuff doesn't really excite me too much. But maybe it does because they're relating it to where I can go with Human Design and the sharing the story. So what he does, which is so freaking awesome, and I want to bring Alex to potentially a retreat if I have that one day, or another event. He uses a story arc. He says that your story is not like bullet points or listing your story. It is an arc. And what he says, how he starts it is it goes from confusion to clarity. And the story arc starts from who you are, and it goes to who you are. So he wants you to start your story of like, who are you? Who are you right now? Who am I? And then we go back to that it's a transformation arc. We go back to where are you starting with your story? I didn't know if I should start my story from a year ago, from all this change, or if I started it from when I first started dealing with a lot of hardship and obstacles and trauma. And that's where he said, that's where you started. But Harry Potter, you're not writing chapters, you're writing books, girlfriend. So that was the clarity I got from, okay, there is a lot to my story, and I just have to figure out on how to speak to it and who I'm speaking to, and how this transformation gift that I got from Human Design to the transformation, my story, and how that can help and support and transform others. That is what I am here for. Boom. More tears happened, like more tears. It just all hit me. There was like this light bulb moment. There was just peace. And it felt like a breakthrough at this time because I was just like, oh my God. And I'm getting emotional. Okay. So when we're getting into this storytelling, who the emotional generator, oh my gosh. You know why I'm emotional right now is because I feel so deeply that my story can help so many others, because it has, and it did during Hit It With Britt. But so much has happened in those 10 years from Hit It With Britt when I started the business. When I say so much has happened, but I have evolved. I have grown into this new woman, and not just relying on what I do as who I am. So, and I've seen so many women who are moms and who are entrepreneurs who just take their identity as a mom. Like, I'm a mom. And they're so proud of it, but you're so much more than that. And then what you do, like, yes, Enneagram 3, like, I am so proud of my achievements and my success, and that fills up my cup. Like, I love working. However, I'm finding so much awareness about myself and how I want to shift some of these things about me, as much as pausing and slowing down, which goes into a whole other podcast that I'm going to hopefully record before my kids get home today. So the storytelling was so impactful. It was so amazing. I told Alex I'm bringing him on the podcast, and he said yes. And I'm so grateful for that. So the transformation story, and that just talked about, what are the two words? Where are you going from? Like what are the two words of your transformation? And at first I really thought, obstacles to opportunity, because I talk about, or turning your pain into passion. And he's like, no, Britt, you need to be seen. I was like, I am. I put myself out there. I'm very transparent in who I am and what I do, about my family and the struggles. And he was just like, but you're still hiding. So you need to go from hiding to being seen. So people really feel you. Take that mask off. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to be vulnerable. And it's how you show up. What that showing up, those are those days when you don't want to show up and you don't have to explain yourself, or you might want to say, this is why I wasn't here yesterday. I wasn't present yesterday. I need to be with my children more. I need to find that bliss, that blissful Brit. So it was just so impactful. Thank you, Alex. Then we did more hot seats, and then we had the most incredible dinner with Chef Chef Steven. Oh my gosh. And what we shared at that table that night, Kacia started asking, what are your takeaways from the past 2.5 days? Tears, just, the connection with these women. I feel like I can talk to them about anything. And that is what Kacia did. Like, she curated an amazing, incredible, powerful, supportive, loving, compassionate, empathetic, sympathetic group of women in all different journeys and areas of their life. And that is really unheard of. Like, I sitting there and sharing, my takeaways, I was just like, this is what I've been needing. This is what I said. My intentions for 2024 is to be putting myself in these rooms, putting myself in the space where I feel comfortable and I feel being seen and heard and understood, because I'm feeling a lot during this transition, misunderstood. And a lot of that is myself. A lot of that is my own resistance. A lot of that is my own self-limiting beliefs that I'm helping other women, other moms, other mompreneurs with as well. So just like I'm helping others in this space, in this mindset, I need it too, because of this transition and this gap I'm experiencing in my identity and where I want to go, because I feel like I am starting all over. I feel like you listening right now, you are my community. And I had to be straight up and to be very honest with you, I had a lot more people from my gym space and my health and wellness space listening to the podcast and communicating with and reaching out to me, because I was an established and I held credibility figure locally. But where I'm trying to go is to keep putting myself in these spaces with women who get this feeling. And it's hard to explain until you put yourself in these rooms. And that's what I was saying about guts too. The magic happens in these rooms, the empowerment, the support, the accountability. And just yesterday, just this week, I struggled professionally and personally. A lot of things happened within a matter of hours. It was like super high, super low, super high, super low. And I'm like, holy shit, I need to stop. So on Tuesday, I just paused. I had a doctor's appointment and I just sat on the couch for an hour. And then I went to UAlbany in my safe space, in my happy, quiet, peaceful place, and just reflected and thought. And it was really hard for me. It was really hard for me, but I knew I needed it. But it did give me some clarity. And then I was like, I need to reach out to one of my friends from the mastermind who will get this and who maybe can just support me and give me some feedback. And what do you know? Like, that's what these masterminds are for. I wouldn't be texting my best friend about this or voice noting my best friend about this. I wouldn't be voice noting my mom and my sister and my cousin. I wouldn't be voice noting even Relly, who's my studio manager, about the problems I was having and the issues I was having, or just the struggles and the frustration that I was feeling. And that's in that moment, that's where I find the gratitude. And I said that in that space. I'm like, I'm just so grateful, because I know this is going to be lasting friendships. And I know I can be able to be myself and to be heard, because this journey is uncertainty, just like motherhood is. And this is why I have this podcast, because there's so many ups and downs, but so relatable. And it's so aligned of motherhood and entrepreneurship. So I just really wanted to share my heart on this experience of the mastermind. We left the next morning just feeling like the cups are like overflowing, and cannot wait to bring this to you. And that's where, like, I'm in this new platform right now, and things aren't perfect with what I'm doing and how I'm putting things up and how I'm like, just little things that you might not even notice, but I do. And I'm like trying to surrender with some of these things I need to let go, and also figure out, I need to figure some things out with like my time and my intentions. And because as I was just, getting filled up before, I really am so, like, I believe so hard in my mission to empower women, to to nurture these relationships, to have them use their voice, to cultivate the confidence, and to cultivate community. I've seen what it did and does with my gym, and now I want to do it on a different level, in a different container. So this mastermind has opened my eyes to even more, and I never thought that would, like, at this level. So thank you, Kacia. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for curating this group and putting your time and your heart into this. And thank you to those that are listening and that are my new community. I really appreciate you taking the time. And this was longer than I wanted to, but hey, like that's the thing. Like, I don't want to be like, 20 minutes or less. So I just wanted you to feel my heart, because I also want to feel yours too. And this is the opportunity for you to reach out to me, voice note me, and just if you have any questions, I am here for it. So until next time, ladies, maximize your mom boss potential.